Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. Today, we're talking all three big sports. We're starting off with the NBA, going to the MLB, ending it off talking about Caleb Williams and, his time with the Bears. Some articles came out. I want to talk about that. So, we got, wide variety of stuff. Obviously, like I said, NBA. We're talking NBA games from last night and talk about the Denver Nuggets versus OKC game tonight. We'll preview that. After that, we're going to the MLB, like I said. We're talking about the Colorado Rockies. And I want to talk about the Detroit Tigers versus Boston Red Sox series. Talk about that a little bit. After that, like I said, end off, talk about Caleb Williams and the Bears. But before we get into any of that, however, tips and donations. Tips and donations are always greatly appreciated. By you guys tipping and donating, you guys are showing your support, and it's always the best. So we're putting out the best content that we possibly can every day. And if you guys wish to show your support by tipping or donating, and you happen to be in the live stream, feel free to do that by using the super chat and the sticker feature. And if you're not in the live stream, the two links in the bio and in the description. Even if you don't wish to tip or donate, you still want to show your support, feel free to leave a comment. Live stream comment section is the best way to do it. I'll see that as soon as it pops up. I'll get to it as soon as I can. It's the best way for me to talk to you guys. Best way for me to talk to the fans. So, like I said, if you do wish to tip or donate and show your support, feel free to do that by using this. And you're in the live stream, feel free to do that by using the super chat and the sticker feature. And if you're not in the live stream, the two links in the bio and in the description. Now, with that being said, let's get into topic number one for today, which is, like it's always been for the past 2 weeks now, NBA semis recaps. Last night, there was 2 games in the NBA. We had the Minnesota Timberwolves versus Golden State Warriors and New York Knicks versus Boston Celtics. We'll talk about the first game, I think the more important game, I guess, which was the Minnesota Timberwolves versus Golden State Warriors. The Minnesota Timberwolves have now officially beaten the Golden State Warriors in a series of 5. In 7-game series, beat them in 5 games. They are now moving on to their second straight Western Conference Finals appearance. And, this is a team that a lot of people saw going far. I mean, this team is so young, so much talent, so evenly spread out. I mean, look at their starting 5. I mean, just 5 of their players. Just 5 of their players. Anthony Edwards, one of the youngest, brightest stars in the NBA. He is the face of the league. He is probably going to be the face of the NBA within the next 2 years. Maybe he already is. Dante DiVincenzo, great pickup from the New York Knicks. I mean, they traded for him, but he was a very valuable asset for this, for this Minnesota Timberwolves team. You also got Julius Randle, another guy they traded for from the New York Knicks. I mean, he's also been a huge player for the Timberwolves, not only this season, but the playoffs as well. He's been playing great for them this whole playoffs, and he was a huge addition for them this, trade deadline. Another guy, Rudy Gobert. He, 4-time DPOY. I mean, Defensive Player of the Year. He's phenomenal. Rudy Gobert is a great defender, and he has kind of shown that throughout his first 2 series. They manhandled the Lakers in 5, and they just beat the Warriors in 5. And, they also kind of playing, less. Oh, they're definitely not inexperienced, but there's not a lot of guys in the paint that can handle Rudy Gobert. And when they're playing 2 teams like the Lakers and the Warriors who don't have guys who can match that up, you're going to win games. I mean, Rudy Gobert was great it's been great this whole postseason. Multiple rebounds a game, 10-plus points a game, 10-plus rebounds. I mean, I think he's had a double-double almost every game this playoff so far. And he's just a huge player for them. Obviously, guys off the bench, Naz Reid, he's played great for them. 6th man of the year last year. And a Minnesota favorite. I mean, everybody loves him in Minnesota. I mean, this Minnesota Timberwolves team was destined to go back to the Western Conference Finals, and I mean, they deserve to. I mean, this Timberwolves team is just absolutely phenomenal. They are a great team. They are so fun to watch as well. They're so young, so athletic, so many stars on that team. It's a great team to watch. It really is. And I did have them winning this series, but it does kind of suck. Seeing Golden State. This could be the end of the dynasty. I mean, it really could be. I was kind of hoping, they go back on a 2022 type of run where they, come back, where no one saw them winning anything. 2022, they won it all, but no one saw them winning anything at all. Everyone thought they wouldn't even make the playoffs. They made the playoffs and eventually made their way to the NBA championship and winning it, which was insane. It was a great series to watch. But, it comes with the cost. Steph Curry, he was out basically every game. He played a game in 13 minutes. So they had him for nothing. They had him for a game in 13 minutes, which isn't, enough time at all. And they lost that first game with him, but they won that second game without him. He played, that first 13 minutes of the game. He had 13 points in 13 minutes, and that's great stat to have. So they would have won that game even if he was still there. But if they didn't lose Steph Curry and that Warriors team was healthy the whole series, they put up a better fight. Maybe taking the game to 7 or 6, but seeing them lose does kind of hurt because Warriors, I wouldn't say hurt, but I mean Warriors are kind of just a team that's always in the playoffs. They're a team that always goes pretty far, and this Western Conference is nothing short of a bloodbath. It really is. For the past few years, it has been a bloodbath in the Western Conference, and the Warriors were a good team, and they were a 7 seed. Not even a 7 seed. Yeah, they were a 7 seed, but I mean they were just not good enough to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are just the better team, and that's simply it. And Anthony Edwards, he made a statement. He's come out and taken out so many vets now. He has taken out LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and the Lakers. Obviously, Steph Curry and the Warriors. Then you had last year Kevin Durant and the Suns. I mean, he is just collecting Infinity Stones at this point. He's just collecting all these big time players, and he has said multiple times, this is our time now. This is the time for the younger generation. These young stars. It's our turn now. Old guys, watch out, and he means it. And he is coming with the vengeance. He really is. He is really coming to play, and he's really coming to set the tone, set the precedent that hey, Minnesota's here. We're the team to be. Watch out for us, and I think it's great for the NBA. Another young star in the league to kind of just keep the flow going. It's really great to watch. I love it. But then you had the other game last night, New York versus Boston. Boston came out on top last night with a win, still keeping New York with the lead 3-2. And last night I saw New York losing that game. I saw Boston winning that game last night just because they had fire. They had. Sorry, hang on. Ooh. There we go. They had some fire for Jason Tatum. There was a passion there. We got to win this for Jason. Obviously he's out with an Achilles tear possibly till end of next season. He probably won't play at all next season. And they're playing for him now. And they played a great game last night. I didn't get to watch the entire thing, but from what I saw, they were in control the whole time. But this Celtics team is, even without Jason Tatum, a still great team. Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, Holiday, Al Horford. The team is loaded with talent. They really are. They are very deep. They have multiple guys who can come off the bench and make immediate impacts. And when you have, the sixth man of the year on the team, Peyton Pritchard, that's, going to help as well. And this Celtics team last night played a great game. They really did. And it's kind of crazy them being down 3. They were down 3-1 last night, coming into last night, and it was a must-win game for them. And, it kind of was a must-win game for New York too, because now Boston kind of has some momentum. But I still believe Boston's going to lose this series. I think New York wins in 6 or 7. I just think they've kind of worn down Boston, and New York just has what it takes to beat Boston. I really do. I said at the start of the series, I said, hey, New York is going to lose this series in 4. I really thought that. I thought Boston was going to win in 4 or 5. I was clearly wrong. People have said this, and I agree. New York as a team was built to beat the Boston Celtics. And you can really look at that and you can see that it's true. It really is true. But, it kind of it's in a really lopsided series. I really thought it was going to go one way. It went the other. And, that's just basketball. There's no clear cut who's going to win the games. There's that first seed, who's, the 1 seed playing the 8 seed. Like this year, OKC versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Everybody saw Memphis losing that series. Memphis just wasn't a good team. It was just, I don't know. There's never a clear-cut winner of a series. There's always, possibly, possibly an upset in the NBA. So, yeah, this has been a really good playoff so far, but the games last night were both good games. Minnesota dominating this whole playoff so far. And I think whoever they play in the Western Conference Finals, whether it be Denver or OKC, they're going to put up a really tough fight. I mean, I think they can honestly make it to the NBA Finals this year. But, I mean, OKC is pretty deep, and so is Denver. So we'll have to wait and see. But if New York and Boston, that's the series to watch right now. I mean, obviously there's only 2 more live series right now. I got OKC and Denver tonight, which I'll talk about after this. And then New York versus Boston after that in 2 days. But, I mean, it's going to come down to the wire. If Boston wins, all the heat's on New York. If New York blows a 3-1 lead, they're going to have to do some clear sweeping. They're really going to have to clear. They're going to have to figure something out because they cannot blow a 3-1 lead. New York has all of the momentum they need. Even with Boston winning last night, they still have all the momentum. And if they lose, something's going to happen with the New York Knicks and management. That's what I think, at least. That's all I got for this segment. Next segment, we're kicking it over to the NBA still. We're previewing the 2 games, or the 1 game tonight, which is Denver OKC. So we'll get to that after the break.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Oops, so we turned that off. Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamper. First segment, we talked on the NBA semi-recaps from last night, recap the 2 games from last night. This segment, segment number 2, we're talking NBA tonight. We got one NBA game tonight to talk about, and that's Denver versus OKC. But before we get into that, however, tips and donations. Tips and donations are always greatly appreciated. If you want to tip or donate, please feel free. It really means the world to us. And if you do wish to, and you happen to be in the live stream, feel free to do that by using the super chat and the sticker feature or the sticker feature. And if you're not in the live stream, the 2 links in the bio and in the description. Even if you don't wish to tip or donate, but you still want to show your support for the channel and the content we're putting out, feel free to leave a comment, especially in the live stream comment section. I'll see that right away, and I'll answer that as soon as possible. When you guys, put topics in the chat to talk about, it really means a lot. And, change it up a little bit. Change up, what I'm talking about. So, excuse me. But, it's always nice, changing up a little bit. So, feel free to do that. But like I said, if you do wish to tip or donate and show your support, feel free to do that by using the super chat or the sticker feature in the live stream. And if you're not in the live stream, the 2 links in the bio and in the description. With that being said, we got topic number 2, which is NBA tonight. Which I also haven't changed that title for about 2 weeks now, which is kind of nice. But we got 1 game tonight. And that game happens to be Western Conference 1 seed versus the 4 seed. OKC versus Denver. OKC's up 3-2. And I believe the game's in Denver tonight. Let me make sure that's true because that could change my opinion on the game. Let me make sure. It is. It is in Denver. That's huge. So, like I said, OKC is currently up 3-2 on the Denver Nuggets. And I do believe, I do believe with Denver being at home tonight, I believe they will win this game and take it to 7. I truly believe that. I believe Jokic is still the best player in the NBA. No doubt about that. No doubt whatsoever about that. I believe he's still the best player in the NBA. Will he win the MVP? I mean, who knows? That's for the voters to decide. But I believe he should. But whatever. I mean, he's just so good. I mean, Jokic is so dominant. He had up like 44 points last game, 60 total PRA, points, rebounds, assists, and like he's just that dominant. He really is. He's just the problem is with Jokic and the Nuggets, they just have no depth. I feel like they don't have a lot of people supporting around Jokic. I really just don't think they do. I mean, you think on paper, yeah, okay, Jamal Murray, Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and like Russell Westbrook, Christian Braun, DeAndre Jordan. I mean, they have guys in that roster, but like none of them they don't all consistently play good basketball. I know you're not always gonna have the best perfect game, but I mean it's just so hit or miss with this Denver Nuggets team. I mean last game you had Jokic, like I said, put up 65 PRA, Jamal Murray at 28, and then you had Russell Westbrook putting up like 2 points, Christian Braun 8 points, Michael Porter Jr. putting up like 4 points. It was just and nothing like just a poor performance out of Denver last game, and they still almost won the game. But they didn't, unfortunately. But, Denver has to, step it up. They really do. The team itself is, like, individually, they're all good players. But, like, when it's a team game, like, you can't just all rely on Jokic to do good. Like, obviously, you want Jokic to just absolutely dominate. And it happens. But if you tend to notice, like, throughout the season and his career, every time that Jokic does really good, they tend to lose games, because they're just constantly feeding Jokic the ball and having him do his work, that if he messes up, well, there's no one else to back it up. I mean, like I said, the other guys in the team that help support him, support his play. But, I mean, sometimes none of the guys are on. Sometimes it's only Jokic. Sometimes it's only, even if Jokic has an off game, you need, like, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. to have a good night. And the good thing about the Nuggets, though, they have had Jamal Murray, who played great this year, and Aaron Gordon has been playing absolutely phenomenal this whole playoff in general. He has played great this whole playoff, this whole postseason. Aaron Gordon has done his absolute best to not only advance the Nuggets and hopefully get them to the Western Conference Finals, but get his friend Russell Westbrook a ring, which I've talked about a lot on the show already. But a lot of these guys in Denver are trying to get Russell Westbrook his first ring. And that's why they're all playing with such intensity. And with this game tonight, a lot of high stakes. They're playing the best team in the NBA. They're home. I mean, it's going to be an electric game tonight. I'm kind of excited to see how it turns out. But, they're playing OKC, and they are, like I said, the best team in the NBA. Led by MVP candidate SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, or Shai, however you say his first name. Everybody pronounces it differently. Then you got, Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein. I mean, the Thunder team is so insanely loaded. They're just deep. And they have a lot of bench players, too. They have the other Jalen Williams, Alex Caruso. I mean, this Thunder team is very deep. They have a lot of depth on their bench to keep them into the game. Let's say all their starting five are out, which, is never really the case. There's always going to be one or two guys in that starting five in the game. But they always, have guys on the bench who are able to come step up and play good basketball when needed. And that's how championship teams are born. That's how you win championships, by having guys in your bench who are kind of able to step up when needed and play good when their starters are out. Like Alex Caruso. I mean, he hasn't got the most amount of minutes this year, but when he's in the game, he makes impacts. He's a well-known defender. That's what he's known for, a defending guard. And he's a good defender. He scores well, too. He's a good scorer. He creates space. But, he's more of a defender. And whoever he's on, whether it be, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter, Christian Braun, whoever, he's playing good defense on them and causing, disruption within the offense, turnovers, whatever. And he's just a great defender. And it's what he's always known for, being a good defender. And like I said, you're going to win games if your bench comes out and plays good. But even with that, the Denver Nuggets are home. I believe they'll win tonight because now it's that home court advantage. It's Mile High. They're in Denver. It's a little harder to play in Denver. It really is. Oxygen's a little harder to come by, and it's hard to play. Ooh, wait. something stuck in my throat. I'm not sure what it is, but that kind of helped. I'm not really sure if it did, but we'll see. But still, I mean, Denver is a great team. They really are. They have the best player in the NBA on your team, and they do have good surrounding players around him. But the problem is that they don't always play good basketball. That's the problem. They're always, kind of just, some of them play good, the other ones don't. And that's why they were a 4 seed. If all of them played decent, just decent all the time, they would have been a 2nd or 1st seed in the West. But, when you have guys, who just, like I said, you have guys like Westbrook, Porter Jr., Braun dropping 2, 4, 6, 8 points a game, especially in the playoffs, that's not going to cut it. You're not going to win games, unfortunately. That's just the truth. And, this is going to be a great game. I mean, the series has been great. Denver has gone through the wire. They've played some really good teams. Obviously, they've only had, one series so far they completed, which was Denver, which was when they played LA Clippers. And that was a great series. That series went to 7. I really thought the Clippers were going to win that series. I kind of wanted them to, because I got ties to the Clippers, so I do like watching the Clippers. And I thought they were going to win that series, but Denver proved to be the better team, and that's Game 7, where they absolutely dominated. They were up by 30 at one point, and they dominated that. That's the truth. And Denver is a good team. They have the capacity, they have the ability to beat this OKC team. They really do. We just saw that against the Clippers. The Clippers are honestly just as good as the Thunder. I really do believe that. I think they could beat the Thunder in a 7-game series. I really believe that. But Denver beat LA, who I think could beat OKC. So that means it's just kind of the Denver can beat OKC in 7. I believe they can. I would 100% believe they can win tonight and then win in Game 7. Granted, Game 7 will be in OKC if it goes to that, which I hope it does. But I just truly believe they will beat OKC in this game and hopefully in Game 7. I like the Nuggets. I want to see them win. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Jokic get another, finals win, get Russ's first ring. That's why I'm kind of rooting for the Nuggets. I want to see Russ, one of my favorite all-time players. I think he 100% deserves to get that ring this year. And I don't think he'll retire until he gets one. So hopefully, this is the year where he can finally get that ring and maybe step down as one of the most, one of the best players to ever touch the basketball. And Denver is a team that 100%, like I said before, can 100% beat OKC. It's just a matter of how well will their starters play and how well will their bench be able to handle, just the OKC bench. Because it's a pretty good matchup. OKC versus Denver, their bench matchups are great. So it honestly kind of just comes down to how well will their benches come out and play. That's all we got for this segment. Next segment, we're going to the MLB. We're talking about the Detroit Tigers versus the Boston Red Sox series that ended yesterday. So I'll get to that after the break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. First 2 segments, talked NBA, talked about the 2 games from last night, which were on, May the 14th, and talked about the games tonight on May the 15th. Well, the one game, Denver versus OKC. In this segment number 3, we're talking MLB. We're talking the Detroit Tigers, versus the Boston Red Sox series that just finished up yesterday. And as a Detroit Tigers fan, This is one of the best series I've seen in a while. It really is. I really don't know what more to say than it being one of the best series I've seen in a while as a Tigers fan. Game 1, it was a 3-game series, and I want to talk about all 3 games. Game 1, it was just absolute domination. We absolutely dominated the Red Sox that entire game. It was 0-0, 1-1 going into the second inning, and we ended up scoring 9 runs in that second inning. So it was 10-0 us because we were already up 1-0. Yeah, I remember that. So it was 0-0 going in the second. We stopped. The Tigers were home this series. They went up 0 runs with that at bat, and then we scored 9 straight runs to make it 10-0. And it was great. It was absolute domination. I mean, players were hitting. Everybody was hitting. Torkelson has been doing his thing. Carpenter's been doing his thing. I mean, these players, this Tigers team has really done something in this offseason to really help them. Because the one thing last year that was affecting the Tigers and why they couldn't make it far in the postseason was because of their hitting. Their offensive play was just not good enough to, get far in the playoff, which is, it sucks to say, but that's the truth. Their offensive play just simply wasn't that good. It really wasn't. And that's why they wouldn't make it far in the playoffs last year, was because of their offensive play. And this year, that's just not true at all, which is great to see. Their bats have been improving drastically. I mean, their hitting has gotten so much better. All their players are hitting great. Besides, some guys, some players, they're just all playing great. This Tigers team is just playing so good right now. And there's really not much more to say about it. In that first game, like I said, they were up 10-0, ended up winning that game like 14-2, and it was a great day. I loved it. In that game, too, this is a game that I was actually at in attendance. It was phenomenal. This game was one of the best games that honestly I've ever been to. Any Tigers game, at least. It was a pretty nice day. I'm gonna reminisce a little bit on the game. Nice day at Comerica Park. Sun was out when I got there. It was raining a little bit in the day earlier of the day, and it was a good day. It was pretty warm. The sun was out. When the sun eventually went down, it was a little crisp, a little cool, but still felt super nice. And I mean, it was just a phenomenal game. So the Tigers are tied. It's going into extras. It was 6-6. So it was pretty back and forth the whole game. We hit a 2-run shot, or we scored. They scored. 2-run shot us. 2-run shot them. We keep scoring back and forth, and eventually we're going into extras with the score being 6-6. And in that 10th inning, we both scored 1 run, so it was great. It was 7-7 going into the 11th, and it was pretty rough because the new rule, which I do really enjoy, going into extras, you automatically get a guy on second base, which I do like a lot. It really speeds up. It really speeds up extras. It makes it go by a lot faster, and I really enjoy it. And it makes the game run a little longer or a little quicker, and the score a little higher, which is kind of cool. I do enjoy that. But so it's 7-7 going into the 11th inning, and Boston's up to bat first, and we have Will Vest on the mound. Or was it Haas? It was Will Vest, and Will Vest was throwing great. Honestly, he was throwing great since we put him in that 10th inning. He closed us out pretty well. He came out to close and did pretty good. And then there was 2 outs, and then he let up 2 runs, which is brutal. It was it wasn't great. He let up 2 runs, make it 9-7, going into the bottom of the 11th, and the Tigers are off the bat. And obviously, we get our guy in second. So we got our guy in second. With Jace Young, however you say his last name, and however you guys like to pronounce it, I call him Young, Jace Young. So he's off the bat, and his average, he's one of the guys who aren't batting really good. He had his time at bat. He was batting. His average was 98%, 0.098. He's not very good, and he's at the bat. And so I'm sitting there with my friends, and I'm saying, this isn't good. I'm like my friend, we're all kind of doubting it, but I'm like, you know what, like, he's due, because he didn't hit well that game at all. He was like 0 for 3 at that point, and he's at the bat. I'm like, you know what, he's due. He's gotta. It's his time. It's his time. And he takes the first ball, takes the second ball. It's 2-0, and then he gets his ball pitch 3. He likes it, swings, sends it right between second and first, and advances the runner to third, and he didn't end up getting home. So it was McKinstry on second base, He advanced the catcher to third, Jace on first. And now we have some momentum. We get a base hit here with Javi Baez at the bat. We're gonna score a run. Hopefully advance Jace to at least second, hopefully third. So Baez is at the bat, and he already went homer. He already went yard this game. He went homered in the 6th inning. Maybe it was the 3rd. I forgot what inning it was. But he's at the bat. And I pull out my phone. I'm talking to my friends. I say, yeah, it's happening. Walk-off home run. Watch it. And hit the first pitch, swinging, bam. Pulls it, left field wall, going into the bullpen. Great. I mean, the environment at Comerica Park in that exact moment was amazing. It was amazing. The place was erupting. It was a Tuesday. Was it a Tuesday? It was a Tuesday night at about 10:30, 10 o'clock maybe. It was pretty late. I mean, it was running pretty late. Maybe it was like a 9. I forgot. It probably wasn't 10, but it was like 9 o'clock. And maybe 9:30. I don't know what time it was exactly. But, Comerica Park was erupting on a Tuesday night at between 9 and 10 o'clock. And, people were leaving Comerica after the 9th inning, going into extras. And I thought it was kind of insane. Like, you're going to extra innings. Why would you want to leave? But, that's on them. They missed one of the best walkouts I've seen in a while. Baez first pitch swinging, bang, left field, into the bullpen, walk-off. And he hits 2 home runs. I have it on video. It's actually on the Barstool Detroit page, and I think it's pretty cool. So that's nice. But it was awesome. The environment there was just absolutely amazing. It was just phenomenal. It really was. That game was amazing, and the vibes in Comerica Park were at an all-time high. And this Tigers team was just playing great, and it was just great to be there and experience Javi Baez walk-off. And he's really back. He really is. He's played so good this year. He fixed his batting stance. He is making great plays in the field, and he's really come and kind of reformed himself. He's really come back and just reinvented himself this season. His new batting stance has really fixed him. He's now playing center field instead of shortstop, which is pretty funny, but he's played great out there in center. So, I'm not complaining. He's done great things for this Tigers team this year, and only good things to come. And last night, which was Game 3, was another great game. It was Tigers versus Red Sox again. I think it was like a 6:40 pitch, first pitch as well, sometime around there. And this game also went to extra innings. I didn't get to watch the game last night because what was I doing last night? It doesn't really matter. But I wasn't able to watch the game. And I ended up coming back around the 9th inning. And I turned it on. By the time I turned it on, we're like already going to extras. And I'm like, we're going to extras again? There's no way. So we end up in extra innings. And it's the same 3 guys up to bat. I think it was like Young, Baez, and I think it was like McKinstry. No, it was Malloy. Henry Malloy. Justin Henry Malloy, whatever you want to call him. So, we have 2 outs, and we have a guy on third. Was it third? Maybe it was second. I'm not sure exactly, but I think we advanced the runner. No, he was on second. Yeah, he was on second. I'm silly. I'm thinking wrong. So, first batter, obviously got his guy on second. Jace up to bat and strikes out. Baez up the bat. I was like, is he about to do it again? In my head, I was like, is he gonna do it again? Redo what he did last night? He popped out. It was a good pitch, but he popped out. So I was, the magic was gone. Not the magic, but I was like, dang, he's really about to go guard again. He in fact did not go guard again, but it's okay. And then we got Justin Henry Malloy up to bat, punches it right through between first and second again, just like Jace did the game before. Advances the runner home. We win in the extras again. This Tigers team, like I've just been saying, is just absolutely phenomenal. They have the most wins in the MLB now with that win last night. And they've just been playing great this whole year. And there's no doubt in my mind that this year is the year for them to make a deep playoff run. I really believe they can. This Tigers team has, all the players they need. The bullpen is pitching, they're pitching great. The hitting is phenomenal. This is the year for the Tigers to make a deep run. And this series against the Red Sox will prove that, it proved that this Tigers team does not go down without a fight. They really don't. They were down and, even going to extras, it's getting late. They're still playing baseball. They're still here. They're still running it up, and I love it. So this was phenomenal. I really loved it. And this Tigers team really is, just the team to be right now. I love watching them. And it's the first time in a few years that I've really enjoyed watching the Tigers baseball, besides last year. But I mean, I'm loving it, man. It's really great watching it, and just this Tigers team is so fun to watch. That's all I got for this segment. Next segment, we're sticking with the MLB, talking about the Colorado Rockies. We'll get to that after the break.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown. Get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some loose shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Noel Jammer. First two segments, we started off talking about the NBA, talked about the game from last night, and talked about the Denver OKC game tonight. After that, last segment, talked about the Detroit Tigers and their series against the Boston Red Sox, touched on that. This segment number 4, we're talking about the Colorado Rockies. The worst team in baseball, and possibly has the potential to be the worst team ever in baseball, record-wise. It's really possible. Because as of right now, they have a record of 7-36. 7-36 is their record as of right now. And, it's horrible. They are already, at this point of the last year, they are 5 games below the White Sox record from last year at this point in time. And the Red Sox had the worst record ever last year. They had the least amount of wins ever. They had the least amount of wins ever last year, most losses, whatever. And the Rockies are already on track to break that the year after, which is, it's never a good thing at all. It's horrible to, be that team to, it's just horrible to be that team, you're thinking, the White Sox did it last year. There's no way it's going to be that bad ever again. Well, look 1 year in the future and you got the Colorado Rockies. This team is just horrible. Without the player in Hunter Goodman, they are they would probably only have 5 wins. Maybe. He leads the team in possibly every category, hitting category at least. Batting average, he's leading it in 291, which is pretty good. RBIs, he has 25. On base percentage, he has 345. Hits, he has 44. The only thing he doesn't lead is home runs. That goes to Ryan McMahon in 6. So, congrats to him, I guess. But this team is just horrible. They, in the past, they've never really had, the Rockies have never been, a pitching team. Their pitching has never been that good. They really haven't. They haven't been a good pitching team. What they have been is a good hitting team. And when your pitching is bad, historically, they never really have any, huge good pitchers, I guess you could say. But now your bats won't hit. That's a problem. Especially when you're so focused on hitting. And that's obviously not working when you only have 7 wins. The Rockies are just the worst team in baseball by far. They have absolutely nobody. And if you're not a Rockies fan, you're just an MLB fan, you probably don't know a single player on the Rockies besides Goodman. Honestly, I only knew Goodman. I didn't know anybody else. And, he's not, he's a catcher. Goodman's a catcher. He's not in the field making plays. He's behind the plate. And I'm kind of looking through their roster. I mean, I don't recognize a single name on this roster. I really don't. Nick Martini rings a bell. But, like, Kyle Farmer, I recognize that name. But, I mean, this team is just horrible. If you look at their pitchers, you don't know a single pitcher either. Like, Zach Agnos, I mean, he's, like, their best player. But he's their best reliever. But, I mean, their team is just horrible. Their starters, horrible. They just have nothing. They really don't have anything. They really don't. I mean, I know what their ERAs are. I don't really want to know. But I look, you do actually kind of want to know what their ERAs are. But, I mean, they're just a horrible team. They really are. They are just, like, bad. You know, their best pitcher for most wins, Chase Dollander, is 2. He has 2 wins. Granted, the team only has 7, but, like, that's horrible. Their best pitcher, their ERA, Kyle Freeland, has an ERA of 6.15. That is their best pitcher. Their best pitcher has an ERA of 6.15. That is horrible. That is actually horrible. This Rockies team is not favored anymore. They play the Diamondbacks next, who, you know, their next game, they don't play today, but their next game against the Diamondbacks, their series, their first game, they have a 19% chance to win. That is horrible. The Diamondbacks have been playing pretty bad this season, too. They're not playing, Diamondbacks aren't playing, like they made the World Series 2 years ago. They're playing, pretty, I guess I wouldn't say horrible, but not up to the potential they should be playing at right now. It's really, I mean, the Rockies are just disgraceful. They really are. This is a team that happens to play in a really cool ballpark. Coors Field, it's one of the best ballparks in the league. It really is. But I saw this tweet. It said the Rockies are a minor league team playing in a high level field. They're like a triple A, like a Rockies team affiliate. Single, double, triple, high A team playing in an MLB stadium. They're that bad. I really believe, honestly, any team that has, I really believe that some like AAA teams, double A, single A teams could honestly come up and beat the Rockies in a game. I honestly believe it. At this rate, the way they're playing, I would 100% believe they can. And I don't think it's crazy to say that at all. I really don't. This Rockies team is just horrible. They have nothing. Like I said, their best pitcher, his ERA is 6.15, and he has 2 saves and 2 wins on the year. 2 wins. The team has 7 total wins. Think about that. They are horrible. I feel bad bashing the Rockies. Like I don't not like the Rockies. It's just bad. When the team has 7 wins and 36 losses, that is horrible. They are already on track to be the worst team ever. Apparently the worst team ever, I had no idea, was this team called the Cleveland Spiders in like 1890 or something like that. And I didn't know that until today. Like someone in my our daily production meeting mentioned that. Shout out Jake. But you guys should check him out. Jake, he part of the GSMC football podcast. Does great content over there. Check him out. But I mean, he mentioned that today, and I had no idea what it was, and I still don't know. And they're just horrible. They really are. They're just that bad of a team, and they have absolutely no future going on over there in Colorado. And it's just the truth. It really is. It sucks to say, but that's just the truth. That's all I got for you guys in that segment. Next segment, ending off talking about NFL, the Chicago Bears, and Caleb Williams. We'll get to that after the break. Sorry for the delayed return. I was in the bathroom. I'm sorry, but can't help it sometimes. Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. So far on the show, we've talked about NBA and MLB. Started off talking about the NBA games from last night, then hopped into the game tonight, the one game, Denver versus OKC. After that, talked about the Detroit Tigers versus the Red Sox series. Great series. After that, last segment, we talked about the Colorado Rockies, what they got going on over there, and why they're the worst team in the MLB. They're just horrible. Last segment of the day, we're talking the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams. I just said Caleb Williams because I wanted to put the Bears and Caleb Williams, but it goes off the screen, and I can't read it all, so just put Caleb Williams. Now keep it short and steady. So, Caleb Williams, good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, great quarterback. But article came out today about him. I thought it was pretty funny. I'm gonna kind of like look at it while I'm talking about this topic, but kind of sum it up, I guess. But Caleb Williams, he in 2024 when he's drafted, he tried to avoid being drafted by the Bears. He didn't want to be a Chicago Bear, and I think it's kind of crazy to think about because now he's just publicly he plays for them. He loves the Bears. He likes Chicago. And it's just kind of crazy that, in 2024, if he hoped to just play for nobody besides the Bears. And he just, he doesn't want to play. He didn't want to play for him. Simple as that. He didn't want to play for the Bears. And, he's had a great, his time with the Bears has been nothing short of good. He has been, they've been historically, the Bears, one of the oldest teams in the NFL. And one thing about them, they've never had a 4,000-yard passing quarterback in a season. Never. They've never got to it. And, I think Caleb Williams will be that guy to do it. I really think he can. He's that good of a player. He's got some weapons. He's got some good weapons around him now, too. Rome Odunze, DeAndre Swift in the backfield. They got some, and now Colson Loveland, tight end. They got weapons to make it happen. So, where do they want to go? So, there was, a possibility that if he didn't get drafted, if he ended up, getting drafted, whoever got the first overall pick, if the Bears got it, he was thinking about just, declaring for the UFL. That's not the team he wanted to go to, but, let's talk about that for a second. He wanted to go to the UFL and not play for the Bears. He'd rather go play, basically JV professional football instead of playing for the Chicago Bears. I think, it's kind of crazy to think about. This guy is a great player. He's a great quarterback. He's had one season there. He's thrown for 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns. He's had a pretty good career start with the team he had wasn't the best. It wasn't the greatest team in Chicago's ever seen, obviously. But they have weapons, and he utilized that. People thought he'd be a horrible quarterback. I didn't think he'd be that good. Obviously, I'm a Lions fan, so I'm going to say hopefully the Bears aren't good. But so yeah, but he's done good. And the thing about him, he was very skeptical about him being able to develop under the Chicago Bears offensive the quarterback room, because everybody knows Chicago has never, like I said, never produced a 4,000-yard quarterback. The Bears quarterbacks have never panned out well. They never do well. Always end up getting cut and just going somewhere else and doing better. And it's just how it is. It's a story. So, the Bears have just, like I said, never been really a quarterback. Never been a quarterback, football team. They really haven't. They never had success as a quarterback. And the team that Caleb Williams wanted to go to was none other than the interdivisional rival, not the Lions or the Packers, Minnesota Vikings. Kind of surprising. Now, Packers have always had historically great quarterbacks. Surprised they didn't want to go there. But, they just got Jordan Love, so they wouldn't take him. But Minnesota Vikings, he wanted to go there. And he really did. The Vikings have had great quarterbacks in the past. Obviously, one of the most recent ones, Sam Darnold last year. You had, Kirk Cousins a few years ago. I mean, they've had some great quarterbacks throughout the years, and they've always produced good talent. The quarterbacks in Minnesota have always been pretty solid. Like obviously I just said, the two ones I just named, Kirk Chain's been there for a while, Kirk Cousins, whatever. And Sam Darnold had a great year with them last year. So, you know, he wanted to go there because his meeting with their head coach, Kevin O'Connell, went very well. It went very well with them over in Minnesota, and he was really hoping to be, a Viking. But, he eventually ended up getting taken first overall by the Bears. And, now he's got a great head coach. They just brought him in for Detroit. They just brought in Detroit's old offensive coordinator. And, that's only going to help, only going to build him up. That's only going to build up his ability to play football. It really is. So, the Caleb Williams will now be in a position to succeed. And, there is no, doubt in my mind that he won't be a great quarterback. Ben Johnson is one of the, best offensive minds in the NFL. He really is. And he, the Bears getting, like I said, the Lions' old head coach is a huge upside for them. He's going to build up Caleb Williams, build a great offense around a lot of great players. Like I said, Roma Duze, Colson Loveland, in that backfield, they got some good running backs. So there could be a good threat. They could 100% be, a threat in this, not only the NFC North, but maybe the NFC in general. I mean, they can be, great. And it's going to be good because, he has now a set-in-stone quarterback, head coach. His head coach most likely won't get fired midway through his rookie season, which, is going to be great. So he has a legit coach to stay with him and build him up. And, he now has potential to be a great quarterback just because, Ben Johnson is one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. It really is. So, he's in a great spot. He really is to succeed. There's no doubt in my mind that he just doesn't end up succeeding this year in Chicago. I don't see the Bears not doing well. Their offense is they have a lot of weapons. Like I said, great head coach, Ben Johnson. Their defense last year was really good. The Bears' defense last year was not their weak point. It was their offense. And now with the great, their defense last year was a very slept-on defense, very underrated defense, but they were injured. They were quite an injured defense towards the end of the year and midway through the season as well. So they had some struggles there, but they're healthy now. And like I said, their offense now is going to be very good. Offensive heavy head coach, one of the smartest guys in the NFL, especially coaching wise. He's going to do great things over there in Chicago. And the Bears and Caleb Williams this year could be very, very good. They could be a very dangerous team. And, I can see them possibly, maybe not being, like the best team of the NFC, but could definitely end up making some noise, come game time, season comes around, maybe come playoff time. Maybe come playoff time, they'll be a sneaky playoff team and, get it done. Who knows? I think that could possibly be the case. Like I said, all these new additions, all these new rookies that is brought in. So this team 100% can make it happen this year. Maybe make the playoffs, and maybe, who knows? Maybe make a deep run. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But they could be a great team this year. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. Your continuous support really means the world to us, so please feel free to like, comment, and share with anybody else you know. Like I said, it means the world. And if you wish to stay up to date with all things GSMC, and know when all of our content's coming out, make sure to follow us on social media. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X/Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. Just get on social media, search GSMC Sports Network, and hit follow. We're on everything, so make sure to follow us, stay up to date with all things GSMC. But like I said, thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Have a good one.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.